Because you do need that kind of power, right, to make these strings vibrate.
What's going on? It's Jason Heath, and I just got back from the 2024 Pittsburgh Double Bass Symposium. I'm full of inspiration from these great performances. I've got all sorts of great ideas from the Masterclasses, and I've shared out about this event over the years in various ways. Today I'm going to give you a little bit of everything. Some of the Masterclasses, some of the performances, and if you want to check out everything, the Carnegie Mellon University School of Music's YouTube channel has the entire live stream there. That's linked up in the show notes, and let's dive in. Jeff Mangone teaches bass at Duquesne, also in Pittsburgh, and plays in the opera and has this beautiful career melding all sorts of different gigs around the Pittsburgh area. Just a real treasure in the bass community here in Pittsburgh.
Why is there an accent?
Is it something to do with gut strings?
No, it doesn't. There's a lot of theories about it. Right before this wonderful, magnificent moment in the opera, dramatically, it's the pinnacle of the opera. Right before that, Desdemona sings her Ave Maria, and the applause is thunders. So the only way that they could get the din of the applause to cease, here we are, basses alone starting on a low E. So that little accent. I'm not sure if the accent was added during the rehearsal week or after the first performance.
Each year's symposium has a different set of featured artists, and it is a testament to the work that Micah Howard puts into this event to make it different every year and beneficial for our students and beneficial for the bass community as a whole. We had over 200 people attend the 2024 symposium, and it was just wild to see all these people from different walks of life.
Tell me what you think is going on there, because it's very Godfatherish, as I just said earlier.
I understood that he was talking to an assassin about killing the Duke or something.
There you go. There is a duet on the stage, and that duet is all about murder and plot. And what do we have? We have this beautiful duet. There's a dichotomy here. There's a conflict. Of this, by the way, this beautiful key of F major. It's a beautiful key. It's the key of Beethoven 6, right? So here's this beautiful F major while there's a talk of an assassin. So we have this wonderful obligato to play, and we all sing and we do all that.
Galen McCormick is the current president of the International Society of Bassists, and another person that I have just gotten so much out of, had a great time hanging out with her.
Everything I'm going to share with you today is drawn both from my experience as a working musician, as someone who takes auditions or took auditions, and as someone who teaches a class in performance anxiety and audition strategies at the Eastman School of Music. There are things I wish I had known when I graduated, mostly from my undergrad. I struggled a lot with performance anxiety, and while it wasn't a problem, it wasn't something that we really addressed other than to say, play more in studio class, record yourself more often. And I felt like we weren't getting at the heart of it, and I was really getting discouraged that my results in auditions varied widely regardless of how much I prepared. So when we're getting ready to perform, you have your non-musical preparation. This is the part that I call super obvious but never talked about. The musical part that I'm going to go very lightly through, because you have tons of mentors here and tons of opportunity to talk about musical preparation. And then mental preparation, another piece that I think we don't talk enough about in an audition situation. Let's say, how are you going to get there? You driving? You flying? Where are you going to stay? How much will that cost? Will you drive once you're in town? Are you going to need a car? Are you going to need an Uber that can fit your bass and maybe your trunk? I'm going to New York. I'm going to fly. I'm going to stay in this hotel. This is how much I budgeted for food. But I remember watching one of my students go through this, and I said, well, did you add that up at the end? Just to do very quickly, $800. And then she said, oh my goodness, I'm about to spend $800 to audition for a summer festival. Now, let's talk about the day of your recital or the day of your audition. I was surprised nobody said anything about this. You're going to need some things. You're going to need some food. right? Something you can carry with you. Bass players, if it's a banana, please check your case the day after the audition so you don't have wrong banana in the house. That's why I tend to go with granola bars now. If I forget, they're fine. You definitely want to bring water with you everywhere you go. You never know what's going to happen when you get to the hall.
Patricia Weitzel is awesome. I've known her for well over a decade at this point. We were on the ISB board together a few years back, and we're actually going to have her at our base camp in San Francisco this summer. What an awesome player and teacher, and it's just so cool to see her out here in Pittsburgh.
Sometimes when we hold our bows, we're really just preventing the bow from falling on the floor. Especially French bow players, it's very common to have this kind of engagement with the bow. And I do think that we need to get a little more contact with especially some kind of roundness on the stick. Even bring the stick closer to your hand in a sense, because you do need that kind of power. What we need to do is unlock the smaller muscles of your arm so they can contribute to that motion as well. So it's like smaller circles here as opposed to this. It seemed to me from the audience standing point that your left hand feels so far away from your body. It could be my eyes deceiving, but it feels like the bass is here. And I like having it closer to me so I can actually have my core a little more engaged. Yeah. If it's here, it feels really, really far away. It seemed like your bass, it was not only farther this way, but also the knee was pushing it forward. So it's almost like we're not aligned with the core. Yeah. So let's see if we can make sure that the bass is closer and the knee is not pushing the bass forward.
One of the things that I love about Pittsburgh are these great cobblestone streets, and it has weather. It reminds me of living in Chicago a little bit in terms of that, but I just love the architecture. And as soon as you get off of the Carnegie Mellon campus, you get into this beautiful old houses and the hills back here. Just beautiful. because I can move the bass around so I can keep my arm there. For this, up and down 2 octaves. Just that type of thing, of being able to grab it. Nick Myers is the new principal bassist of the Pittsburgh Symphony. He took over that role in 2022 after being in the Detroit Symphony for several years, and he was joined for this recital by Carl Anderson, who was a student at DePaul while I was teaching there. He was studying with Alex Hanna, so it was so great to hear Nick play this amazing recital and to hear him partner up with Carl for some great music making.